Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. Happy Tuesday to all of you. I hope you're having a good day so far. This is the only thing that I was going to talk about today, but I just kept finding more and more things that I think are very important. However, this first topic that we're going to talk about, I believe is so important that we understand how it is that China can completely destroy the United States without firing one shot. All they have to do is stop importing to us, or stop exporting and then allowing us to import their goods. And many people say, well, China needs us just as much as we need them. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the thing about China. And maybe they do need us right now. Right now, I see that their biggest need from the U.S. is food, right? That's what I think it is. And of course, they've already stolen all of our secrets. They've already stolen all of our intellectual rights, I guess you can call it, right? You know, on how we build missiles and how we build cars and planes and all that kind of stuff. They've got all of that. What you have to understand about China is, and I think that the U.S. government is somewhat like this as well, if not really like this as well. China doesn't care about their people. Look at what's going on right now in China, where all of these people lost their life savings. I know it was a handful of banks, like 5 or 6, or maybe even up to a dozen banks, if I remember reading it correctly, where they closed their doors. The people's money got locked in for several weeks, if not a couple of months, and eventually they told the people, your money is gone. You're not getting your money back. People lost their life savings, everything that they worked for in the term of fiat currency. That's why it is important to diversify your wealth holdings, right? So they lost everything and they don't care. The Chinese government, they don't care. They don't care if they send, 1.5 million or 2 million of their people, out to fight in a conflict, knowing that they won't come back. I mean, their history shows that they don't care if people starve to death. All they care about is keeping control. So if it comes down to them cutting off the United States, where is the United States going to get those things that we normally get from them? And I'm not talking about trinkets. I'm not talking about microphones. I'm not talking about speakers or anything like that. I'm talking about things that we really need as a society and as an economy in order to survive. And there in turn is why, for those of you that may be new here, is why I do these videos. Because just like we talked about there being a prospective rice shortage here a few months back, now you're hearing that there's going to be a rice shortage worldwide. And I'm going to go over that a little bit with you here later on to show you that there's not really too much to worry about. Prices are going to go up, but there will be rice available, right? Just like we talked about, get ready for a potato shortage. Well, ladies and gentlemen, what's going on now? Again, there may not be too much to worry about as far as actual having potatoes, but the prices are going to go up. And there may be a little bit to worry about going into next year, but we'll talk about that here in a minute. First and foremost, I want to talk about this. A matter of life and death. Tens of millions of Americans will be without medicine once trade with China stops. Now, this is an article from the Economic Collapse, and it's authored by Michael Schneider. Really good guy. If you haven't visited this site, go visit it. Of course, I will leave the link to every article that I go over with you. This article is a little bit older, but I haven't really seen too many people talking about it. Actually, I haven't really seen anyone talking about this in the YouTube world. So I thought that I would talk about it today because it is very important, ladies and gentlemen. Do you understand how much, and it's not just medicines, but how much we get from China? But AP, we should cut ourselves off from China. I agree 100%. Our economy and our manufacturing is like a tanker ship in the ocean. It goes slow and steady, but in order for it to make a U-turn, it takes several nautical miles for that ship to finally be able to make a U-turn. Same thing with our manufacturing. We have allowed our politicians to decimate the manufacturing here in the United States of America, to send it out to the lowest bidder. And therefore, we, the American people, have gotten hooked on cheap stuff, on cheap consumer items, right? We are a consumer economy. We consume more than what we produce. The only thing that we produce more of than any other country in the world is fiat currency, which is our number one and main export. And if you don't understand what I mean about that, just look it up. The United States exports more fiat currency than anything else that we export. But let's go ahead and take a quick read of what Mr. Snyder has to say. Once war with China starts, our current standard of living won't just be interrupted. You notice how he says once war with China starts? I truly hope that this does not come to pass, because it will be terrible. The truth is that our current standard of living would end. There are thousands upon thousands of products that we currently get from China that would very quickly disappear from store shelves. And who can disagree with that statement? They simply would not be available any longer. And Taiwan produces more of our microchips than anyone else in the world by a wide margin. When the microchips stop flowing, our whole economy will come to a crashing halt. We live in a technological world, and we need microchips for everything. Have you read the articles about how car dealerships are, or not dealerships, but car manufacturers are pushing forward cars where the rear air conditioner doesn't work, or this part doesn't work, and making people sign waivers saying, yeah, I understand that these parts don't work because there's a shortage in microchips, and then we'll go ahead and come and recall them and get them fixed once we get those microchips back. Well, here in the United States, I believe they passed some kind of a bill, some kind of corporate welfare, where they're giving these corporations billions and billions of dollars. I think it was like $58 billion, so that they can produce microchips here in the U.S. Well, guess what? They gave them that money, right? Why don't we have microchips? Because of what I said. Our economy is like a big tanker on the ocean. You don't just get the money or the fiat currency, right? You just don't get that money, and all of a sudden tomorrow there's microchips. No, you have to build the facilities. You have to hire the technicians. You have to get the raw materials. And where do we get the raw materials from, etc., etc., etc.? It takes a long time to ramp up manufacturing of any kind, really. That is why we should be taking away all of these restrictive regulations that take away from our competitiveness in manufacturing with other parts of the world. We'll be better off because we would be more decentralized instead of centralized and depending on one or two of the major players. He continues, and once conflict begins, our trading relationship with China will halt. And are you prepared for that? That is what being prepared is all about, ladies and gentlemen. It is having the things that you know that you are going to need, right? That you are going to need first and foremost for an extended period of time. And then working towards being self-reliant with those things that you can become self-reliant with. It doesn't have to be everything. I plan on, this is my plan with food. I plan on trying to be the best potato and cabbage and maybe one or two other crops. The best that I possibly can, where I can grow an abundance of those crops every year and then be able to trade the excess for other things that maybe I did not prepare for or prepare with. Needless to say, this would hurt us very badly in countless ways. For example, very little of our medicine is actually made here in the United States, and that is an enormous problem, and it is. According to a statement posted on the official website of U.S. Representative Mike Gallagher, earlier this year, 80% of the drugs that Americans use come from overseas, and China is the largest supplier. All right, so if you click on that hyperlink, it brings you here. And this is from Gallagher. Colleagues introduce bill to end U.S. dependence on Chinese manufactured pharmaceuticals. And here he says the Chinese Communist Party has threatened to withhold life-saving drugs from the U.S. once, and we'd be crazy to think they won't attempt to do so again. 80% of the drugs that Americans depend on come from overseas. China, whose pharmaceuticals have been subject to numerous recalls, is the largest manufacturer. As a result of this reliance, the U.S. has not produced basic medicines, like in the case of penicillin, since 2004. Do we even know how to do it anymore? Incredible. Never has there been a population that is more dependent on pharmaceutical drugs than we are. And that is the truth. I believe that the United States of America, and not that I believe, but I remember reading it somewhere, is the most medicated country in the world. Almost 70% of Americans take at least one prescription medication, and more than half take at least two. And listen to this, 1/5 of Americans take 5 or more. And on this second article by Mr. Snyder, he says, this is what will happen to the U.S. economy if we go to war with China. And here, towards the beginning, he talks about the repercussions that trip that Nancy Pelosi took to Taiwan may have and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, this article is a couple of weeks old, but like I said, I haven't really heard too many people talking about this, and I think that this is important that we understand. Before we cheer for our representatives to do something that could be very catastrophic to the people of the country that they represent, we need to understand what it is that we're cheering for. And this is why I feel that this is important information. We would like to tell the U.S. once again that China is standing by, and the Chinese People's Liberation Army will never sit idly by. Now, this is coming from China. China will take resolute response and strong countermeasures to defend its sovereignty and territorial integrity, says the Foreign Ministry spokesman Zhao Lijian. As for what measures, if she dares to go, then let's wait and see. Now, this is obviously before the trip, and the reason why I wanted to talk about this for a little bit is because nothing happened. China didn't do anything. Ladies and gentlemen, I guarantee you this. Right? I don't know this for a fact. This is pure speculation, but I guarantee you this. China is working on something. They are planning something. And I wholeheartedly believe that they will cut us off eventually. They will either cut us off or they will make it extremely expensive for us to do business. You see, right now, you think that some of the things that come from China are getting more expensive. Wait and see when they are on the captain's chair, when they get to make the decisions on what they will actually charge us, because we no longer have any input. We no longer have anything that they need from us. They have a whole bunch of other countries that are more than willing to do trade with them. I believe that I saw something yesterday where China bought like 12 oil tankers to go back and forth. I think it was to Russia or to Saudi Arabia to buy oil directly from them with bilateral trade, meaning bypassing the US dollars. They are putting all of their chess pieces on the board, and they're not hiding it. They're doing it and saying, what are you going to do about it, US? You think you are the mightiest country in the world, but you only think you are. And obviously, there is nothing that we can do about it. China is not a JAV team. China is not Afghanistan. China is not Iraq. China is not Libya. China is not Syria. They're going to do what they're going to do, and we're going to stand by and we're going to watch it. So you better get all of the things that you need for the extended future, because if this comes to be, there will be no more Walmart. Period. There will be no more Walmart. There will be no more car parts. There will be no more pharmaceuticals. There will be no more fertilizer coming from China, because China is one of the places that we used to get fertilizer from. I believe that they stopped exporting fertilizers. Sadly, war with China is coming, and I truly do hope that Mr. Snyder is 100% wrong when he says this. I do believe that we are in a war with a lot of countries in the world, with Russia, with China, with Iran, with all these other countries. However, it's more of an economic war. That's what I believe it is. However, I think what he's talking about here is a static war, a physical war, and I hope he's 100% wrong. Our ability to produce our own food will also be greatly affected because China produces so much of our farm machinery. Farm machinery such as tractors, egg incubators, and harvesters are manufactured in China. Chainsaw, wood chippers, and shredders are also produced in the country. Elevators and bulldozers are also assembled in China. This is almost making me sick because it's true. What the hell happened to the United States of America? We should have never become so dependent on Chinese products because it really is a major national security threat, really. Chinese factories manufacture winter coats, gloves, mittens, and hats for consumers around the world. These factories also produce maternity clothes and infant clothes, as well as wedding dresses and tuxedos. Underwear, t-shirts, and slips are among the items exported from China to consumers around the world. Sports caps are also produced in China, as are belts and bras. The United States sources 99% of shoes from overseas, with 70% of those coming from China. 72% of the smartphones we get from China. The artificial sweeteners in Diet Coke, toys, furniture, sports equipment. What you buy every time you go to Target. And of course Walmart. And a lot of Costco as well. The moment we go to war with them, the flow of cheap goods stop from China completely. In addition, once the Chinese invade Taiwan, there will be an absolutely excruciating computer chip shortage. Taiwan's computer chip maker makes about 66% of the global market. If the flow of chips from Taiwan is eliminated, the entire global economy would come to a crashing halt. I am not just talking about a recession or depression. I am talking about an economic collapse on a scale that most people would not be able to comprehend right now. That's a pretty strong statement that most people would not be able to comprehend. So I have good news and bad news about the potato shortage. We talked about this a while back. I would say several months ago that this was coming. Wait a minute, a potato shortage in Idaho. Here is why. I'm not going to read the article, but I'm going to pretty much just tell you, sum it up on what it says, right? It's not that long anyway, so if you want to revisit it, I'll leave the link on a pinned comment. So pretty much what they're saying is that our carryover is running out. All right, our carryover started running out into August, so they started pretty much rationing what they sent to supermarkets and to warehouse stores and things like that. However, that the harvest starts here in August, in the middle of August. So the harvest has already started. But the thing is this, if we pretty much ran out of carryover, were to the point where we had to ration, then and price increases, right? Because a way of rationing is increasing prices, because the higher you get the prices, the less people that will buy it. They'll just say, oh, I'll buy something else. I'll substitute it with something else. But what they're saying is that the harvest is going pretty decent right now. But my question is what's our carryover for next year looking like? If we ran out of carryover before this harvest really began, then what's our carryover for next year looking like? So I'm hoping we'll find out here later on in a few weeks or so exactly how much potatoes we have for the season, after they complete all of their harvest. But we'll have to see what kind of a carryover we have. But the reason they've been going up in price is exactly that. In my opinion, raising prices is a way of rationing food, because less people can buy it. People are priced out of the market. So get your potatoes now. That way you can have them for the next 6 months. Believe it or not, potatoes will last in a dark, cool place where there's absolutely no light for a very long time. That's what I use my seed potatoes for, right? Although by the time that I use my seed potatoes, they're, probably about half the size that they used to be when they were fresh, and they've got, shoots coming out of them and all that kind of stuff. But you know what I mean? You can probably buy yourself a bag of potatoes, and if you put them in a cool, dark place, they'll probably last you at least 3 to 6 months, I would say, easily. The rice outlook, the domestic rice outlook for 2022-2023, we talked about this too a few months ago, that there were some countries where I think it was Singapore, that was going to have about 10% less rice production, same with Vietnam, and here in the United States as well, we're having about 9% less rice produced this year than we did last year. And again, I'll leave the link to this so that you can take a look at it. However, even though we're having less rice production this year than we did last year, we are importing rice, which will make up the difference. So although rice is going up in price, and I think it will continue to go up in price, because even as we are importing some rice this year, I guarantee you we're going to export plenty of rice, because there's going to be a shortage throughout the world. And rice is what feeds about 50% of the people in the world. All right, about 50% of the people in the world live off of rice as their main staple. And a quick look at the markets, ladies and gentlemen. As of 7:09 Alaska time, the Dow is at 34,007 points. It made that 34,000 mark. And look at this. It's just over the 200-day moving average. We'll see if we have a candle close above that 200-day moving average. So we'll have to wait till tomorrow and see what happens. I might have been wrong. Maybe the Dow is going to the moon. The S&P 500 is at 4286. The NASDAQ is at 13,562. The dollar's gone down 3 basis points. It is now sitting at 106.45. Oil has gone down 5 cents, sitting at 87.83. The 10-year bond went up 6 basis points, sitting at 2.85%. The 30-year bond sitting at 3.13%. Gold has taken a $2 hit, sitting at $17.76. Good number to buy. In my opinion, I'm not a financial advisor. Let's see, silver is down 8 cents at $20.16 right now. Platinum, $9.35. Palladium, $21.57, and it has made it above that 200-day moving average as well. Dr. Copper is sitting at $3.61. California's water market continues to go up. It is now sitting at $12.01.92. Wheat is sitting at $7.92. Corn, $6.13. Soybeans, $13.81. Rice, $17.03. And lumber, $5.93.8. Having said that, have a great day. Remember to be good to each other. When good people do good things happen. Remember to reach one, teach one, and repeat. If we all did this, the world would be a better place, and you know that it will be a better place. Many blessings to all of you and your families. I'm Alaska Prepper. I am out.